Good morning, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Tasteful and Toxic. We are here today with some lovely guests today, and we're going to be talking about having the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And don't be afraid to be confrontational.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have to be negative, right?
Mhm.
You can bring something up in a peaceful way and speak your mind so you're not holding it all in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm joined today, of course, she's Abigail. She's always here. You know who I am.
Yeah. And Brother Carter has given the grace to allow.
Yes.
To, I don't want to
Okay.
say allow, but
Go on ahead
let
on.
you
Bring
do
it on
your-
in there.
I'm taking the reins today.
Yeah.
Brother Carter has blessed me with that.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
That's good. That's real good.
And of course, we have our lovely host, but we'll get to them.
Yeah, yeah.
We are joined by a friend of mine, Dr. Latista Redmond. Do you want to quickly introduce
Latista.
yourself?
Dr. Leticia Redmond, that's who I am. I think my mic is off.
No, you're
No,
good.
you just don't have your headset on.
Okay. I'm not used to this.
It's right
You
there.
can-
Walk on again.
You can put it on if you want to hear yourself now.
Yeah, because I feel.
Yeah.
Okay, well, put your
Put it on.
headset on.
Put my head
I
on.
put mine on too, so you won't feel alone.
I know. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, y'all
Okay,
put y'all
so-
on. I can hear y'all.
Oh, okay. I'm Dr. Redmond, pastor, CEO, and founder of Elohim's Kingdom Church.
All right.
Alongside my husband, he was the
Mhm.
co-founder and the CFO.
Mhm.
And we just glad to be here.
Yay.
Yeah.
I put mine on. So we ain't gonna make, we might as all follow the lead.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, all right.
Look like we're on radio here. There we go.
Radio. I
Got
feel
you.
good.
No worries. No worries.
And then we also have the lovely Miss Donna Marshall Payne
Hey.
joining us here today.
Hey y'all,
Hey.
hey y'all. I am Mrs. Donna Marshall Payne, better known as Mrs. Donna. I am the CEO of Doing Far More, Abundantly and by Faith LLC. I'm also the CEO of the Hemp Village, because it takes a village.
Mhm.
And I'm the founder of the Doing Far More Foundation.
Yeah.
Glad to be back on Tasteful and
Yeah.
Toxic.
And she literally do far more. Far more.
Far more.
It's not a mistake that named after that.
Yes.
She do far more. That's right.
And we also have the lovely, the vivacious
Mhm.
Miss Valerie Carter, Mrs. Valerie Carter.
All
Put that
right.
handle on there.
Put some respect on that
Put some
name.
respect.
on that name.
Yes, I am the CEO of VK Consultant Group. Hey, well,
And
LV with Val
Mhm.
And-
Radio. Oh God, Career Conversation.
Oh.
and our nonprofit.
And our nonprofit, actually one of the most, one that means the most to me is LMV Enterprise Resources, Inc.
Nice.
I am the co-owner of LMV Enterprise Resources, Inc. And here is my founder.
He's
Yes.
also the official host of Tasteful and Toxic as well.
Yes.
Mhm.
And
Mr.
you're
C.
the gracious host of Love and Victory show with Val. I know y'all heard about that show, that
Mhm.
TV show.
And
So
that whole
yeah, she is
TV
the
show.
host of that TV
The
show,
hundreds and millions
which have
and
hundreds and
thousands.
millions of billions of people watching
I love it.
day in and day out. Yeah.
And we can't forget Brother Carter. He has his own dictionary.
Yes.
He has
That
his
part.
He is the rock that God has blessed me to have in my life.
Amen.
God is my foundation, but He is my living
Amen.
rock.
Yes, so I am, brother. Give my my many names.
Mr. C, LC, Brother Carter.
Come on. That's it. All right.
Deacon-
All right.
She got stuck.
Wait a minute.
I am the host of Tasteful and Toxic.
Nice.
Abigail has done such a wonderful job at hosting the last couple of weeks of the show, and we're
Finishing
just so grateful to have her do the hosting of the show. She's a well-spoken young lady. She's beautiful. She's bright, intelligent, all those good things, qualities about her, and she's funny also. So,
She's hilarious.
so we just enjoy her hosting the show. maybe I'll take it back over in October next month. Yeah. So,
I feel like you're gonna do it today.
no. So what are we talking about today?
We're talking about having the conversation. We talked about on this other show about how you said you're not very confrontational.
Okay.
And I want to use the words nonchalant. You know what I'm saying? Because you're a very nonchalant person, and Mrs. Carter is very chalant.
That's the Tasteful and Toxic.
I'm chalant. I
You're
like that. You know what? I need a
Mm-hmm.
T-shirt. Nobody can grab that. I am chalant.
Yeah.
She's chalant, he's nonchalant, and kind of finding the balance between the two, because they both can be tasteful, but they also both can be toxic if you go too far one way, because any extreme is an extreme, and it can be toxic.
Is chalant a word?
No, I think I made it up.
Chalant is
You
my
didn't
word.
know that we create words on the
on the
Tasteful and Toxic
Yeah.
show,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
Listen.
Brother Carter dictionary of words.
Lord.
Find that word in there.
It's in there.
Yeah.
Don't act like you didn't know that. See, that's what happens when you have doctors on your show. They so educated. They be on the top. Is that a word?
You are no longer
But not-
sister. You are doctor now.
But not only am I Brother Carter, the host of Tasteful and Toxic, I didn't give you all of my accolades. You know, I'm a non-licensed preacher.
The preface.
I'm an unlicensed therapist.
The other preface.
I'm an unlicensed. What else am I unlicensed?
Medical doctor, because you.
I'm unlicensed in a lot of different fields, but I can give you a lot of good tools.
You're a
to work with.
wordologist.
Yes.
A wordologist.
Yes.
And the one thing that you are is a unofficial licensed dictionary, because you have
Wordologist.
wordologist. There you go.
Wordologist.
I love that.
That's
Mhm.
is that
I
a
like-
word? But we're gonna create
I
it.
like to think I'm just a real individual.
Okay, then I would
Okay.
agree with
I
you.
agree
on
with
that.
that one.
But I'm gonna what is that? What's my word?
Chalant.
Chalant.
I have no idea if that's a word.
Figure out how to spell it. We're gonna make it up.
Spell it until it makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
What would make an individual so
Girl, you crazy.
unconfrontational? What give me some signs of an unconfrontational
So the
type
first
of
word that
individual?
comes to mind for me is passive aggressive.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
I hate
It's that
word.
person where you know they got something to say, but they're talking around the subject. They'll be like, so because they want you to ask them what's wrong, rather than just saying, "Hey, can I talk to you about something? Like I got something on my mind."
Mhm.
They're I call them fishers. They're fishing for something rather than being straight up.
Yes. Or a non-confrontational person is also that one. They know that they certain things will trigger them, so
Mhm.
they hold their feelings and their emotions. It's almost like they've locked them in a vault
Yes.
Wow.
because they don't want that to come out.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, and to them, they just think it's normal.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah, but it's very dangerous
It's
to
very
hold
dangerous
things
to hold
in.
things
in.
Yeah.
Because you hold things in, you're not gonna like me when I say this, but it's like when you're holding in a tube, right?
Mhm.
Gas is building up.
say that when you're holding in a what?
A toot.
I think
Oh, no, I
we could have gone with a pressure cooker or something like that, but we're gonna go with a toot.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you're holding in a tube, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
The longer
yeah.
you hold it in,
Yeah.
the more it hurts your stomach, the more bloated you
Yeah.
get.
Yeah,
And
that's
eventually that tube's gonna
Yeah.
come
And
out.
it's-
And it's gonna
It's
stank.
like pressure in a pipe. You know,
Yeah.
eventually, if you don't release that pressure, it's gonna
I
pop.
kind of feel ganged up on.
Yeah.
It's kind of like cooking in a pressure cooker.
Yeah.
You know, you have before you can open that top, you got to kind of
Mhm.
let that steam kind of
Yes.
up out of there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And if you don't, if you just take that top and you open it up
You
right
gonna
away,
burn
you're
something.
gonna burn something.
That's
And
a classier example than what I was giving.
Yeah, right. I'm trying to clean it up for you.
Mhm.
And most of the time, people that are being passive aggressive. I'm gonna say, I don't want to say most of the people. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna speak for my husband.
No, don't speak for me. Speak for yourself.
Okay, then. Well, I'm gonna speak for myself.
Mhm.
Most of the time, people that are being passive aggressive, that are holding it in, they
Oh, my
tend to
stomach growling.
explode. They explode
Right.
when it finally
Yes.
come off, and that is what is traumatic for other people.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
they see the other person that is not passive aggressive, that deals with something, right on the spot, they see them as being always
aggressive,
always want to start up something.
They always got a problem.
They always got a problem.
But that can make you sick too.
Yes, they can.
Yes.
It's about finding that balance. And that's kind of what Tasteful and Toxic is all about, right? We're talking about the tasteful side and the toxic and kind of finding a way to meet in the middle there. Because if you're that person you always got something to say.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everyone around you is going to start to feel resentment. They're like, well, I just can't do anything right. Some things you do got to hold in or just digest it a little bit before you go
jump it in there. Yeah.
Because how many times has like you've been in a reactive state somewhere, because when you're triggered, you are not yourself.
Right.
Correct.
You become
a whole different
outside of yourself.
And you are going to act out of character. So sometimes you have to take that and hold it in a little bit, process it, really think
what's
about
really
it,
going on instead of being in your head,
and then bring it to the person or whatever situation, bring it to that person when you've had a chance to really, really think about it. Or there's the other side where people, they just never say anything. And that resentment builds up and up and up and up. So much so that they can be in your face laughing with you. They hate you.
Yes. And they're always finding you as the problem.
Right.
You know, versus really it's them, because they're harboring all of this stuff and they're not having the conversation. So what they're doing is constantly seeing you as the problem because they haven't even talked through to get to know.
And the flip side of that is sometimes you think it's an issue, because I've done that and been in my head about something and it really wasn't what I thought it was. And then I had to go think about it. And then the Holy Spirit convicted me and said, that's not what that is. Because now you're in your feelings.
Right.
That makes me think of the saying, when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. So when you're quick to be like, because we talked about another show about face value, right? When you take something for how you see it and you don't know the ins and out, the literal, you don't know the ins and out, the nuances or whatever, and you come in hot and you haven't had a chance to really investigate what happened.
What really went on.
You're going to make a fool out of yourself.
That's good.
I like that a lot. I think Donna and I did that for years with each other. We never took the time to get to know each other. We went off of perceptions. And this is my girl here. And so, but I think it took someone else, a mediator coming in and really, I'm just going to, can we go there? It actually took Lawrence.
Oh, me?
Yeah, it took you
Therapy.
Therapalize. You know, it took him having a conversation because he's always made it very clear how important his cousin was to him. He loved Donna is the baby, honey. That's his baby. And he's always said it, but he also loved me.
Exactly.
And so, but he also knows my personality. And so he had to go and have a conversation with his cousin because he's having this conversation with me. I'm stuck in the mud. She's stuck in the mud. And it wasn't anything that I think we could have fixed. I think it was something that he had to do. So can you kind of talk on that? How did you get us to talk?
Well,
actually, I'm
talking. Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
So honestly, it's been years because y'all been together for 155 years, right? So because I think I was a baby when I remember that part right there, sugar. So
trying to take it real.
And you know, sometimes in families, communication is not always clear, and I think that's what happened with us. You know, you hear one thing, you hear another thing. I didn't even live here for 100 years. And then I came back and all I remembered with Val was as I was growing up, what I would always see, you know, Val and Lawrence, you know, but never had a relationship with Val. Our relationship was toxic. I said it. Yeah.
Yes,
you know,
was.
And you can always tell, you know, we talked about discernment on another show. You can discern someone's spirit, you know, and if you can't, you better learn how to better, right? Because that's going to decide your circle, your village, right? And so I always knew her spirit towards me wasn't good and vice versa. And honestly, never knowing why. Never knowing why. And I don't know what pivotal point it was, but all I know, we was on a back porch drinking, cooking out and hanging out.
I know what point to the T. He was over at your home.
Yeah.
And I was at home. Again, the toxicity. So it was so toxic that I was not even going to go around. And if I went around, I still kept myself removed away.
Completely.
And she did. And so I think you were having something at your house. And again, this is what we do. We get into our feelings and we never have a conversation because we're going to stand in our own corner over here. And it's like, you got to have the conversation. So he's over there.
So that means you both were being unconfrontational,
No.
so to speak. Y'all didn't want to confront the issue at hand.
No. Go
what
ahead.
was this all about then?
Go ahead.
So I don't know that we were being unconfrontational, but we didn't want to confront each other. It was because when we were together, it was never a good situation. Even when I was in your home, I can always feel it. And my husband will say, I'm like, I don't want to go over there. I don't want to go over there. Because when you feel like you're not wanted or welcome,
you're not welcome.
Exactly.
Right.
And so I'm sure Val felt the same way when coming over the house. But timing, God's timing. We had the conversation on the back patio. Next thing I know, Val and I are hooked at the hip.
I think we can't skate across that.
Okay. Come on. Go ahead.
Okay, so
all right, on today's show, Tasteful and Toxic.
But I think what we're doing is we're talking, and I think it's important. Anybody can jump in.
Okay.
It's important to have the conversation. So it started with Lawrence really helping you to understand where his wife was, right?
Correct.
And so then after he had that conversation with you, you were more open to receive it. She called me. And when she called me, we had our conversation, which has blossomed into a beautiful sisterhood.
And y'all, that's just this year. 2024.
Yes.
So if you don't talk to people or communicate, you're missing your blessing.
Yeah.
That's 40 years they've been together, and
So-
we've only been together 9
So
months.
you can
If that.
overcome these types of situations.
You got to have the conversation.
I have a question because I'm actually have dealt with a similar situation where there's a certain individual that I cross paths with who we just don't get along. I think we both feel a negative spirit, and I think we've both done things to irritate the other person, and we're talking through our mutual person to like get
them on the side.
Right.
That's what happens.
But what do you do? Because I proposed the idea of a conversation. What do you do if the other person doesn't want to hear it?
Well, I think for in this situation, and I hear what you're saying.
Dr. Redden answer.
Well, but this was the situation we were in. I'm gonna let them jump in. I think what's important is that you have to be willing to have a conversation. You have to have someone in your life because you may not be that person that can go in. I couldn't go to her and she couldn't come directly to me because it was so toxic. But he cared enough about both of us to have a conversation. So sometimes you have to step back and first trust God, but then trust the people that know that you both care, that care about you guys, so that they can at least go there and be honest without a hidden agenda.
Right.
Yeah.
Arbitrary person.
And throughout life, there's 3 sides to every story, y'all know.
Yeah.
This side, that side, and the truth. And so when you begin to confront the truth and see the truth, that's when you can start coexisting and start healing from the division that take place in your lives.
Correct.
Because people misunderstand, right? So I can be pissed off because someone said something to me and it turns out that's not even what they said. Kind of like what we were talking about earlier.
That's correct.
You know?
Yeah.
And so, I like this is really already, I know we're only a few minutes into this, but it's already inspired me to bring this person aside and say, listen, I know we have our differences. I know we haven't gotten along. Can we set that aside and just be happy for each other? We don't have to be friends. We don't have to be best friends. We don't have to hang out. But at least because, like you said, it's a negative energy that you feel and it eats you
but
up
a lot
inside.
of times you don't even understand the negativity that's in the relationship. So you don't know who should be the one saying I'm sorry first versus the next party.
Right.
And so if you don't get to that part of it where you say, you've wronged somebody or you feel like, I don't know. It's when you don't know if they wronged you or you wronged them, you don't know.
But people are always
you can't have a conversation.
They're in their own feelings. So I think what's important is having the conversation and having someone. Dr. Redmond, can
you have a conversation with somebody that wronged you and didn't apologize for it?
Oh my.
Well, to be honest with you,
yes or no? Can you have a conversation with somebody that have wronged you and never apologize for it?
I can have a conversation.
I was gonna say,
I can have a conversation because I can have a conversation with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I can have that conversation, and in that conversation, I'm hopeful that we can come to a point that we can apologize for what we done. But if that person can't, then I still know where that person's at, and then that's my clear sign of how to deal with that person. And if you care about that person, which, if I can be very honest, I've always loved Donna, and I couldn't understand what the problem was from my perspective, other than the fact that I was on the outside. And so on the outside, sometimes that makes your own insecurities. And you get what I'm saying? So for me, I can speak. So you got to have the conversation. Yes, I can have a conversation with anybody.
And even if I personally don't have a problem being the one to apologize first, I want peace more than I want to be right sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
So you would apologize even if you did nothing wrong?
I would.
Because I don't believe.
Hold on, wait a minute.
I won't.
I would.
You would apologize even if you've done nothing wrong.
Absolutely.
For peace.
For peace, because my father used to tell me that. Again, it's my upbringing.
Yeah. I wouldn't grow up that way.
Yeah, he told me, as a pastor, he said, you apologize whether you were wrong or not. He said it's called good customer service. And I said, whoa, what's that got to do with, you being a pastor? He said, there's a lot to do with it because we're in the business of serving people. He said, this is how we make our living, and it is the call of God on my life. But in order for me to be in a position where I'm blameless at all times, I must apologize whether I'm wrong or not.
But is it sincere?
He said it doesn't matter. He said, well, the deal is...
Well, I don't want you apologizing if it ain't sincere.
He said, if you apologize...
I apologize if I offended you.
Right. So he said, you always apologize, lead with that apology, simply because you are opening the door for the Holy Spirit to convict the person of what they wrong and soften their heart. All sometimes people want is an apology, whether they're wrong or right. They just want to know that you are humble.
I'm gonna push back because I don't want anybody apologizing to me if they don't really mean it. And I'm gonna tell you why.
Go ahead.
If you don't, and I respect what you're saying. For me, if you're saying I apologize, I apologize. I've heard so many people say I apologize, but they still walk away with that same. Yeah.
But if but you're a different character. He said, if you apologize, it
opens the door.
Yeah, it just opens the door to that conversation to soften the person's heart. He said, my
heart is not going to be softened.
He said, you need to get out of the way.
Get out the way.
I'm sorry.
He said, you need to get out of the way and get out of self. He said, when you apologize, it humbles you. He said, because he said, true power is humility under control. He said, so
I'm all out of control.
Well,
I want to challenge.
I hear what you're saying, Doc. I hear what you're saying.
Donna, you want some of this? Here? Come on, Donna.
Donna's struggling too right now.
Come on, don't leave me out here by myself.
But it takes a lot. Come on now. It takes a lot to humble yourself to apologize.
Okay, come on.
It really does.
So
now you're in the fruit of the Holy Spirit.
I ain't got that yet. Okay, come on.
Spirit touch.
Come on.
Okay, so listen. So I actually went to school to be a prosecuting attorney. Okay. But the reason I didn't move forward all the way is because I didn't have the heart to put someone in prison that I thought was innocent. You understand?
Got it.
Or convict someone. I don't want to do that. So how could you make someone that everyone is accusing apologize for something that
they didn't do? Thank you, Donna.
That's why I struggle.
But that's a public apology. We're talking about an individual.
But I couldn't go to her
on a one-on-one.
I'm gonna use her as an example. Yeah. I couldn't go to her and apologize to her for something that I hadn't done, that I believed in my soul I hadn't done. So I'm not. That's like me going to her, Donna, I'm sorry I don't like you.
Well, it is something that needs to be apologized for, because I'm not supposed to be feeling like that about you if I'm a Christian.
But I think the conversation don't start off like I apologize. The conversation might be, something is off with us.
We have differences.
And
if I've done anything to offend you, like you said, I apologize. That part.
That's a different type of apology.
Yeah.
If I've done something
Right,
to
because I
offend
might
you.
not even know that.
That part.
Yeah,
Yes.
I might not even know if I've done. I could have.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
But that's
Exactly.
your opportunity to express what you've done to me.
Yeah.
And it's up to me to
Talk about what I've
Receive
done to
it
you.
or understand
receive it or reject it, you
Yeah.
know. And
And
a lot
I'm
of
just trying
times
to open
people
the door for a conversation.
Exactly. I
That's
agree with
interesting.
you 100%.
I like that.
I
Yeah.
wanna jump
That's
in.
a different perspective.
I want to
Okay.
jump in.
Okay.
I want to challenge that a little bit because I think there's obviously outliers. So when I say this, I don't mean every single situation. I think in most scenarios, there's nobody that's blameless. We all
Exactly.
play a role. You may think the other person is the aggressor, but like you said, you may not know that you triggered them.
And what you
And that may not
did.
be your fault, right? There's intent and then there's impact, right?
Mhm.
I could crack a joke to somebody, right? And it turns out that really struck a chord with them.
And it triggered them.
And it triggered them. And I'm living my life like, I don't know what their problem is with me. They just started acting weird, blah, blah, blah. So I really think in most scenarios, no one is blameless, right?
Right.
Because you
That's
contributed in some way.
I
Mhm.
disagree.
And sometimes
didn't-
I believe that, your very presence sometimes can be
The
a
aggressor.
reason. Right.
And you shouldn't
because of the
apologize.
way they view you.
The energy.
Right.
The energy in the room.
You know,
I understand what
you
you're
know what
saying.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
What you mean?
Because I've been in places where,
no,
people
sugar,
just
baby.
having a
You
problem
know-
with, I say, you don't have a problem with me. That's a problem you having with God.
It's the God in me. It's that God fact.
And if you truly believe you're blameless, you shouldn't be apologizing, in my opinion.
That
If
part.
you really, truly deep down feel like you did absolutely nothing wrong, either you got too much pride in the situation,
Mm.
or maybe you really didn't do anything wrong.
And that's what I'm saying. And I'm gonna be 100%. Since we started off with our situation,
Mhm.
I did nothing to her. She did nothing to me. I was going off of the way that I was being treated. She was going off of what she heard. And there was never a conversation.
And you both were
A
wrong,
complete
in my opinion.
misunderstanding.
And
Yeah.
Complete misunderstanding.
Going off
Complete.
of vibes.
I think it was
We
something
have
to
both
be
strong
and
personalities
you
as
both
well.
needed to apologize, in my opinion, to each other, because it was like you didn't do anything wrong, she didn't do anything wrong, but she still.
But where the fault was is that you both continued that
Mhm.
without addressing it.
Mhm.
So until you
the
addressed
fault
it,
was him.
We're not gonna blame. Hold on, we're not gonna blame brother.
Wait a minute.
Brother Carter.
I thought he was fixing it.
I thought I was a mediator. I thought I was
The glue.
I was
the
I was making a joke
You
there.
were, baby.
I
You
was
are.
making a joke there, but literally, I hear what everybody's saying, and I'm agree. I know I'm kind of being that toxic person sometimes.
I know I said I was going to be toxic today.
But I can honestly say that for Donna and I keep going there because it's such a blessing when you truly have that conversation and you get out of your way and all that other bull crap.
Mhm.
In the this is about, don't be afraid to have the conversation. I'm so grateful because I got to know that it's so much about her. It's just like me. And it's so much of me that's like her. She's a go-getter. This is a strong, beautiful, powerful woman. I have so much
But
respect
look where
for her.
y'all ended up at the level
Yes.
of maturity
Yes.
on both ends.
Exactly.
That
Exactly.
humbled yourselves
Yes.
to have a conversation because this man, intervened.
And I do believe, and that goes back to, you got to have a conversation. If you never
Yeah.
talk, if there is never a conversation, there is never an inroad.
That's
You're going to
true.
stay here.
Right.
So,
And I think there will be less divorces
yes.
Yeah.
if people would just have a conversation.
Mhm.
There's so much lost communication in relationships.
Yes.
One of the main things with my current final relationship ever
Mhm.
with my husband,
Mhm.
Kelvin Ray Payne,
Yeah, okay.
shout out.
Shout out.
But when we got together, y'all, it took only 6 months for us to say I do.
Oh, wow.
And here we are almost 10 years in
Mhm.
because we had a conversation about conversation and communication.
Mhm.
Because you can communicate all day long, but if you don't understand what you're talking about,
That part.
Yeah.
If you're talking to
the
be understood-
comprehension
Yes.
is more important than the communication.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what's withstanding us. And I think in any type of relationship,
There you
if
go.
you have communication and the comprehension behind the
Understand,
communication,
yes. Mhm.
I think there'll be so much.
Well, you can have dialogue all day, but if it's not effective.
Yeah.
So, for example, I'm just saying.
Come on, go there.
Okay, so I say to my husband, I'm tired. I'm gonna go to bed. Will you put all the food up?
Mm-hmm.
And he hears me, but he doesn't understand what I mean because he doesn't really pay attention.
He ain't comprehending.
He ain't comprehending what I really
He ain't
said.
listening, really.
He didn't
He
hear you
really
say I'm
listening.
tired.
So he put the food up in the pots.
Yeah.
Oh God.
So I come back the next morning. Hey, why did you do that?
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you put it in Tupperware? He said, you didn't say that. But that's what I meant.
Mm-hmm.
So you want him to be a mind reader, huh?
See? Bad
Bad
communication.
communication.
And that
You
goes
being
back
toxic,
to
Brother Carter.
but you telling
No.
the truth.
Yeah.
No,
No, but I understand.
See, he understood it.
Literally.
He did what he understood.
There you go.
He put the food back in the pots.
But he hadn't been around enough in the kitchen with me
Seeing
to
that you
know
put everything in the Tupperware.
how I do things.
Mhm.
So it was my job.
to communicate.
So wait a minute, you wanted him to
Effectively.
take everything out the pots, put it in Tupperware, clean
And then
the
clean the
pots up.
pots and then put the food in the fridge.
Yeah.
No, see, I ain't understand that neither. I put the pots up, man.
And that's what he did.
That's what he did. I understand
You know what I'm
that.
saying?
Yeah.
So this is a misunderstanding.
Yes.
That was a misunderstanding on your
On
behalf.
my behalf.
Yes.
But
Well,
so who was the issue? Who was the
I
issue?
think that goes back to what I was saying.
Because he
earlier.
didn't ask no question.
I think
But he needs
both
to. He
of
saw,
them.
he saw you.
I think
how
that
you
was,
do
like
it.
you said, I don't think either one was fully at fault, right?
Mhm.
Because here's the thing. He eats the leftovers. He sees it there in Tupperware.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
Part right
He
there.
lives his life
You
knowing.
see what I'm saying?
So from your perspective,
Yeah.
it's
I'm gonna have to challenge you on this.
No.
let me finish
Let-
first.
All right.
Because
This is
that's what I'm
true.
saying. I don't think anyone is 100% at fault, right? Because to me,
Mhm.
I would know. I've never even been to your house, and I know that if you tell me to put the food up, I'm not putting it in the pot in the fridge. I know to use Tupperware. He lives in the home. He eats out of Tupperware. He never eats out of the pot the next day.
Hello.
He doesn't wake up to dishes in this or whatever, right?
Exactly.
So to you, it's a very clear. This is how it's always done. This is how it does
Right,
it.
right.
But to him, he may not be that observant. You know what I'm saying? He
And
may
I'm
not
gonna tell you,
notice
I'm gonna
that.
tell you why I say she was wrong.
They're both wrong.
Yeah, no, he was not wrong.
Remember when we talked about
Okay, hold
weaponized-
on.
We talked about weaponizing
No, he was
confidence.
not
Remember
wrong.
that?
He put the food away like she asked him to do.
He was playing
But
games.
no,
Playing
it
games.
That's what
wasn't
it was.
done the way she expected to be done. See, we
That
always
word
put
right
our
there.
expectations
That
on
right
other
there.
people other than ourselves. Now she
There
get
you
up the
go.
next morning with her expectation of
With
what it
attitude.
should have been and start lashing out at her husband when he did exactly what she asked him to do.
I
And then
think
he
it's
took it
50-50.
literal.
Well, I'm not
It's
gonna
not
lie. I ain't gonna
50-50.
even lie. I'm with Brother Carter.
He did it the way he knows to do it.
So my thing is,
so you don't get
now-
disappointed.
Right.
Yeah.
so now that is now a conversation
Yeah.
that has to be had.
Well, and I like that, but the other side of that is if you clearly communicate what you need,
Effective.
what you need.
It
Let me.
wasn't clearly
Wait, no, I'm not
communicated.
saying this one. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, but if you clearly communicate what you need, okay, baby, I need you to. Could you please? I'm exhausted. Do you?
Yeah.
I need you. I'm tired.
Mhm.
I need you to. Could you please put the food up? And there's somebody phone on
That's
the table.
me.
Can you take it?
That's not a problem.
Okay. Can you please put the phone food
Phone.
up, and then if you don't mind, put it in the Tupperware and in the pots. And
I got something else to say, but yeah.
No,
Okay.
wait a minute. First of all,
okay.
okay, I don't need detailed instructions. And no man out there need detailed instructions on what to do when they talk about cleaning the kitchen or whatever. We all have our own way of doing things.
Okay.
And we
that's
have
fair.
to stop putting our own expectations. I'm gonna say it again and again and
That's
again
good.
on other people.
No.
That what we
That's-
want things to be in our life, and now you frustrated because I don't do what you
I didn't
want
cut
me to
the
do
onion
the
like
way
I didn't
you
cut
want
the
me to do
onion
it,
like
right.
you like to cut.
But
the
it wasn't a good conversation from the beginning.
Oh.
In other words, I guess my point is there was no clarification,
onion from the
no understanding, and no effective communication from the
beginning.
jump.
Yeah.
There you go.
But
Okay.
should there
Oh.
be? And because
Okay.
there's also Does that mean you have to spell everything out for him every time he does it?
And then when you do that, now he mad.
Now you're condescending. Now you're talking to me like I'm a kid, like I'm dumb. So if I tell you to run to the store and pick up some eggs, do I need to tell you, okay, grab your keys, get in the car, start the car.
That's a good one. That's real good.
And that's where I was.
I think y'all taking this conversation way off the target.
How?
But it's real though.
So just another perspective.
Okay.
Okay. Sometimes it could be silent communication. Okay.
Which could be passive aggressive.
I don't know how we're gonna look at that, but we're gonna use
go ahead.
We're gonna use my parents who've been married 61 years.
155 years.
That part right there, baby. That part right there. So I laugh at them a lot because they both have their own ways of doing things, even in 61 years. Mom could go and clean the kitchen with her walker all day long, but daddy gonna go right behind and clean it again. So mom could try to make the bed. She didn't do it right. Daddy goes right behind. My husband, somehow I've married part of my father. I could be making the bed. He will come in there and tighten the sheets. So then I walk off. You do it. And that's that silent. I ain't said a word. I just walk off because that's what my mama taught me. She just walks off because he gonna do it his way. But they're still communicating and they have a clear understanding.
Body language is communication.
That part right there.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Sometimes you can use body language and may not have to say a darn thing. Sometimes you pick your battles. So you wake up and you see them pots up in that refrigerator. You just go on in there, sugar, take them out them pots and put it in Tupperware.
Well, I did do that, but still.
You pick your battles.
I had to say.
Yeah.
Like next time when I say this, this is what I mean for future reference. And then you shouldn't have to explain yourself again because you've already set the standard. If I ask you to put the food up, don't put these dirty pots in my fridge. Put it in some Tupperware.
How long you been married, sugar?
33 years.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
and this was just yesterday.
It's fresh, baby. It's coming out fresh.
Let me give another an analysis here. You know, I squeeze my toothpaste from the bottom up. And my spouse squeezes in the middle.
Oh, that's wrong, Miss Carter. You're wrong for that.
No, it is not. No, it is not.
And so I have a problem with that.
You're wrong for that.
Okay, hold up, Abby. I have a problem with that. And so here I am for years try to put my expectations on how she should squeeze the toothpaste on her because I didn't like it until I grew up.
And got your own toothpaste.
Get your own toothpaste and do what you want to do with your toothpaste.
When it's an easy solution like that.
I'm just saying that's how simple things can be in a marriage, in the household. As easy as the toilet being up or down.
That part.
But that wasn't really an example that happened to us, but it was something that actually happened. And I use my husband as an example. But it was something that actually happened to someone else. But
making the bed happen in my house.
But I wanted to bring that up.
You got issues. There are issues in the household.
Yeah, we have our own, but it wasn't. It ain't about that. He don't do nothing in the kitchen.
And see, what we don't understand is this conversation is bigger than just you and I.
Absolutely.
We got hundreds and millions of people out there viewing the show here. And we're trying to help edify somebody outside ourselves. And so I'm clearly trying to make this point because I am the host of Tasteful Toxic.
Okay, Brother Carter.
He said,
he getting us together.
I do want to make this simple point. Stop right now. Men, women, children, putting your expectations on other people outside of yourself. Those are your expectations. You do your thing the way you do it. Stop trying to make Val do what you want her to do your way, Lord. Don't do that. And Val, don't try to make laws do things the way you see it should be done.
That's right, baby.
Just because you wash the dishes a certain way don't mean I have to wash it that way. Long as I clean it, the end result is that it's done.
That's 100%.
And so I can't tell you how to cut your onion. I'm shameful even saying how to cut the onion.
You did do that.
Because you still cut the onion and it got in the food and it tasted good.
There you go.
No matter how you cut it.
And she manhandled the toothpaste, but she's brushing her teeth.
Oh, yeah.
And so when you, and also I want to add this, when people go behind you and do something, don't get into your feelings.
That's right.
It can be an act of love.
I know. Don't
That's
get
all
into
it
your
is.
feeling thinking that you are less than or incapable of. You know how we can get in
That's
those
true,
emotional
yeah.
feelings
I
and
just
stuff.
say
That's
thank
real
you,
good.
baby. I just say thank
That's
you,
real
and
baby.
keep on
Yeah.
moving.
That's
Mhm.
real
You know,
good.
because at the end of the day,
It's getting
that
done.
person is really trying to just
something off
edify
for
and
you.
blessing the whole house
Absolutely.
on
Taking
what
something
they're
off
doing.
for
If they
you.
taking something little and making it better or more, hey,
Right.
That's
'cause
right.
If you're with some, I'm a pretty clean person, but like I know some people are like crazy. Like I'll vacuum, I'll do the floors once a week. But if so and so wants it done every day, you can do it every day.
yeah.
Mhm.
I'll do it on Wednesday whenever I do it.
Yeah.
You can do it Thursday because that's not my
Mhm.
standard. That's
Yeah.
your standard.
That's right.
I'm not gonna not do it,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but I'm gonna do it my way and you
Yes.
do it your way.
And
That's
that's
right.
just respecting each other's boundaries and
Yeah.
respecting each other's differences.
Yeah.
That's right. Don't count how many days I ain't fold them clothes. I'll
Yeah.
get to them when I get to them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now that's
There
an
you
issue
go.
at our
Now
house.
that's a problem, Angel. You need to fold the clothes.
That's a real issue.
Leave my sister cousin alone, Angel. Yeah.
She gonna get to 'em.
Baby, we're going to get to them when we get to them.
Yeah, I left a basket of towels just about 2 weeks, and he was like,
It's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good cut to crap too.
yeah.
Don't put
Oh,
stuff in
Lord.
the washing machine if you're not gonna finish it.
That's my husband.
Mhm.
Now me, now that's definitely him. He drops stuff in the wash machine and don't even turn it on. I'm like, what cut the crap?
So how do you stop your children that come by, son, and take over your machine and then leave and you
Yeah.
ain't through washing?
I know.
And
What is
so
that?
if you wash your stuff at my house and it's in the machine and I get that and I need to use it,
He's going
you're
out.
gonna have mildew clothes because they're not going in the dryer. I'm not doing your job for you. They will go into the basket. You're gonna
Yeah.
have
When Sasha come over and wash her clothes,
Hilarious.
She stay right there that whole hour, 2 hours, whatever it is. She don't move. She ain't let nobody else. She very territorial. You ain't
She
touching
is.
her stuff.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, she gonna block that whole area.
She's very particular.
Yeah, you ain't
She
touching
likes,
nothing.
Don't touch my stuff. Don't look at my
Yeah.
stuff. Don't
Mm-mm.
think about
She
my
got it in bags, tied up.
Oh, wow.
She's
Hilarious.
extra. She's
So
extra.
in lieu of the show, today's show, if you see something, say something. That's what we're talking about.
Having a
Don't be
conversation.
afraid to
That's
have
that
a
school
conversation.
slogan.
Yeah.
See
Yeah.
something, say something. That's
No,
what they
it's-
saying
That's,
now.
that's a
Yeah. Have a
safety thing.
conversation.
That
Yeah.
you see something, say something. But it
Mhm.
also applies to our relationships.
Mhm.
Have a
You know,
wrong.
and there's nothing wrong with having a conversation. If something irritating you, if something, piss
Hurt
you
you.
off,
Mhm.
it's better not to just hold those things in like I've used to done for years of my
Mhm.
life, held in a whole lot of stuff.
Mhm.
And start crying and out of nowhere because I held in so much. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So don't be that individual that just hold in everything, but be tactful when you
Have
do
that
let out your
conversation.
conversation, have your conversation. Don't go lash out at people trying to have a conversation because
Mhm.
that's not a conversation. No, you yelling at me.
Mhm.
And now I
productive.
cannot hear anything you saying.
That's
All I'm
right.
doing is hearing the yelling.
Mhm.
I don't hear words you're saying
But
as
that's not
far as
even
conversation.
effective communication. You're trying to dominate something, and you want to put on me what you're feeling.
Expectations.
Expectation,
Yeah.
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 I really love that we have this conversation. I
Yeah.
know, and for those, if you don't mind, for
Mhm.
those that are listening,
Mhm.
Donna and I deciding to have this conversation wasn't about anybody
Mm.
other than us. It was to give an example of avoiding conversations. We could have avoided having an amazing friend,
Mhm.
family ship.
Mhm.
So when I tell you I love you,
Mhm.
I love
she
you
loves
too, boo.
me, and we really do love one another.
I'm
But
glad y'all love each other.
yeah, but you miss out so much in life
Yeah.
because people are afraid of having a conversation. So this was not to
And that's just not about you, like you
right.
said. It's many of us having issues throughout life with loved ones.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we don't even know why most of the time. We
Mhm.
I just don't fool with you. I
Yeah.
don't fool with you, you don't fool with me, and that's the way it is. And so we have to get beyond these places
Have a
and start
We got to have a conversation and tell somebody, a family member, you call them to check on them and tell them, you had something for them.
Mhm.
And the first thing they do is they got a nasty attitude and they snappy. Look, I ain't called for that.
Mhm.
I'm gonna call you tomorrow
Mhm.
when you in better spirits.
Yes.
Yeah.
Life too short.
Life
is
is
too
short. Yeah.
Yeah, I was in a
And
good
when-
mood
and
before
when-
I called you.
And when you're doing something, be intentional about it.
Yeah.
Don't slowfully go at trying to handle a situation that you're not wholeheartedly into it.
Yeah.
You know, if you go into it, just be intentional about it.
Yeah,
sure.
I try to be.
Yeah. So we're so grateful to have you all join us on Tasteful and Toxic today. Another great show produced by Miss Abigail over there and hosted by Miss Abigail. Yes. And so Abigail, we want to give them closing remarks.
Yeah. So you guys can give I want to go last.
Okay.
Since I'm hosting, I'll go last.
So let's do a round robin. Let's start that.
We'll start with Miss Carter. Your final thoughts.
Not having the conversation is only hurting you and the individual, because obviously if you're bothered about it, you really care about that person. So have the conversation.
Oh,
facts.
Simple, straight to the point. Huh?
All righty.
My thing gonna be what I've been harboring on the whole show. Don't put your expectations on other people. In other words,
have the conversation.
Don't put your expectations.
And what about you, Miss Donna?
So all I have to say is, don't block your blessings by assuming something about someone else. Have the conversation immediately.
Yes.
While it's fresh, but make sure that you go into the conversation with an open mind, heart, and spirit.
Yes. Very
That's good.
I love that.
And you, Dr. Redmond?
All right. Self-care. I believe that your blood pressure is more important than somebody.
That right there.
I'm just saying.
I love it.
I'm not trying to have a heart attack or a stroke, because I will apologize to you 15 times. What did I do? Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
That's all I gotta say.
I love it.
I love it.
Yes.
Yeah. And my final thought, I'm going to piggyback off of that. Sometimes you have to put your pride aside. We all want to be right. We all want to be the person that's all high and mighty, but none of us are.
None of us are.
And so sometimes
not even you.
Well, I'm not talking about me.
Shade.
My God, I love her.
Even me. And I'm so perfect. Even though I make mistakes sometimes. I know that's shocking. I know that's very shocking. But even I make mistakes sometimes. And I've had a journey. In the past couple years, I've made my relationships and I've been very intentional, like you said, about my relationships and my friendships. And I was the type of person before to be like, well, I don't care. If she wants to feel that way, she can feel that way. And that never did me any good. It ate me up inside.
Right.
Like we talked on another show, we had a guest on who said that she hurt a friend and she apologized, right? But when you hurt somebody and you allow them to step away, it's going to eat you up.
It's going to bother you.
And so sometimes you have to really set that pride aside. And, I don't think people should give insincere apologies, but I do think you have to step outside of your own self and realize and see it from a different perspective.
Yes.
I don't think very difficult to do.
But I don't ever give insincere apologies. I'm just a softie and I have a good heart and I don't like to see people hurt.
I'm the same way.
I will apologize. Even though my father taught that to me, I took it literal.
That's why you're a pastor.
Yeah.
I didn't get that. God didn't call me.
But I'm very compassionate.
I'm still waiting on the phone call.
Yeah.
But I think that's beautiful. And I'm not making light of that.
I'm just very
Maybe
compassionate.
that is why you are a pastor.
Yeah.
Because you really
I care.
Yes, you care, but you really do want to see the best.
And I don't think it's insincere. It's genuine, right? It's genuine.
It's
even if you don't.
That's so natural who you are.
It's my personality.
Yeah, because I'm very similar. I'll be quick to be like, well, I'm sorry. Like I'm sorry that I did that to you.
Yeah.
I'm a Scorpio. I ain't got that in me.
I'm a Leo.
You a Leo?
And so before we close this show, Abigail, I do want to commend you for doing such a wonderful job at what you do. You so well spoken. And we're so grateful to have you again and again to just be our producer on this show. A large percentage of our success do come from and through you. And so we're just grateful to have you.
Yes,
We love you.
So
We love you. I also want to say, since you've been a part of the crew, Abigail haven't always been as insightful as she is. And so I'm listening to her talk, I'll be like, man, now she taking Brother Carter words and just really manifesting them, you know?
Yes.
She take my little finite words and she just broaden it out so, and I do appreciate it. And I hear it when it's coming out. I say, man, look at Abigail.
Oh, thank you guys.
But you call those things that be not as though they were, and they've appeared.
Yeah.
That's what has happened.
Yes.
No, I've definitely thrown myself into the Love and Victory, the LV with Val, all of it, right? I've really thrown myself into it. You guys are another set of parents for me. Every guest we have on is a cousin, sister, everybody. I saw Miss Carter's cousin last night. She was playing the drums, and I went and saw her cousin last night.
Yes, she did.
So.
She did. She really did.
You are like me.
She was
I
amazing.
want to be a part of your family now.
And then-
We're all family.
We're gonna go, but then she's so petty. She had to send pictures of her and her mom out with my cousin. I'm like, where y'all at? So we love her.
Bye.
Bye.